This
item.
conference will now be recorded.
Just a reminder to please stay on mute. I have the ability to mute you from the control panel here. I'd like to not have to do that, to make sure you can get off of mute if you have any questions. So just please mute your phone, mute your line if you can. And with that, Sheriff Rotter, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Blake. We'll call this Thursday, September 10th, 2020 meeting of the Iowa 911 Communications Council to order. Kara, could you please give us a roll call?
Yes, I'm President Tracy Bearden.
I'm here.
Lawrence Hartpence.
Here.
Rob Rotter is here. George Griffith. Mike Bryant.
Here.
Mark Murphy. Jeff Anderson.
Here.
Robbie Johannesson. Rob Dennert.
Here.
Jack D'Angelo.
Present.
Taylor Teeple. All right, you do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Kara. If we could please entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved by Tracy Bearden.
Thank you, Tracy. Do I have a second?
Anderson.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against, same sign. And motion carries. Thank you. Can we likewise have a motion to approve the August 13th, 2020 minutes?
Dennert.
Thank you, Rob. Do I have a second?
Second by Bearden.
Thank you, Tracy. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Again, same sign. And motion carries. Thank you. Blake, do you have a report for us?
I do. Thank you. All right. I wanted to jump right into discussion on the wireline migration. At this point, we have 15 PSAPs complete. I want to acknowledge the discussion from last month regarding the funding situation. I don't want to totally recap it, but I did want to acknowledge that we had that conversation regarding what we are able to fund at this point, and specifically when telco, or I'm sorry, when PSAPs go ahead and convert into the wireline migration. Just a recap of that discussion, you are absolutely able to disconnect your CAMA circuits from CenturyLink from the selective router. You're also able to disconnect your alley links from CenturyLink. The question that has arisen is regarding the telco charges, the special access tariffs that are presented to the PSAPs, as well as alley change record costs presented to the PSAPs. Again, it was our full intent when we started this project to get all-inclusive pricing from our vendor partners when we started this project. And I'm not ruling that out, but we need to get a better grip on what these charges are, make sure they are proper charges before we continue. And at the moment, we don't really have a funding mechanism to pay those special access tariffs. We don't have that cost relationship with those telcos. So we're really just kind of in a holding pattern, trying to sort through some of that stuff. There's been questions raised to the Iowa Utilities Board, the FCC, the Attorney General's office. And really that's kind of where we're still at. Like I said, holding pattern. Last month, I recommended the status quo as far as those bills and invoices go at this point. And nothing's really changed. I think that discussion is still kind of percolating in the background, but wanted to acknowledge that we had it because it is a big topic. Also presented this as a topic at both the Western Iowa and Central Iowa PSAP supervisors meetings. So again, just wanted to bring it up here and pause to see if there's any additional questions or if there's been any thought put into it since last month. Okay, not hearing anything. I'll continue on and feel free to jump in or type a question in the chat if you have one. You also would have received an email update on Tuesday that went to the PSAPs as well as the telcos, and that email came from Comtech. We have identified an issue where telcos are not provisioning their records into the new statewide ALI database. That is causing some issues with calls to come in, no record found, which means it goes, rather than to the intended PSAP, it default routes, which is currently state radio DPS. It's not an overwhelming amount of calls, but it's a noticeable concern at this point. So rather than continue to charge forward with the wireline migration, we've put a temporary pause in place. Hopefully it's not too long, 2 or 3 weeks, I'm hoping. And we're really tackling this issue from about 3 different directions. Hopefully we get our hands around it here sooner rather than later without too big of an inconvenience on anyone. We have been reaching out to telcos to make sure that they are aware, to make sure they know what's happening, to make sure they are provisioning their information into the statewide database. We're comparing what records are in the statewide database with the legacy ALI database to figure out which telcos have not been provisioning, reaching out to those telcos again to identify if there's a technological issue, if they weren't aware that they were supposed to be provisioning in the new database, and really just trying to dig in and figure out what's going on there. One of the things that can help relieve this problem as well, and Ali Bright from our office or myself will be reaching out to set this meeting up, is regional defaults by selective router. And if you remember about 2 years ago, this topic kind of came up, is crouched a little bit differently. We were wanting to use the secondary ESINet sites as kind of a regional backup. And it's kind of a similar conversation. So rather than inundating state radio, who is the last route option, or the default route PSAP, you know, if we can relieve some of those calls regionally, the idea is that it's a whole lot easier to handle those calls, to dispatch those calls. So again, that conversation is going to come up, and expect, you know, to hear from us in the near future on that discussion. I'll pause again if there's any questions.
So this is Lawrence. Is there anything from the PSAP side that we should be doing differently? Or
Nothing from the PSAP side. When we have a good solid list of the telcos that we've identified that have not been provisioning, we'll also engage the PSAPs just to first of all make them aware that they have telcos in the area, and if there is any sort of relationship there, to encourage them to reach out as well, let them know what's going on. Again, we're doing that from our level and from Comtech's perspective, but if it can be done at the local level as well, I think it just bolsters that message. So I think that's what will be coming. But as far as what you can do differently, kind of just, again, stand by for now, and we'll let you know if you can be a benefit.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Blake, this is Jack. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Blake, I did get a response back from one of the telcos here in regard to Comtech's email. There was like 92 records in this case. I'll try to get through this here. They said 23 of the records were related to ported numbers and how they were stored in the 2 databases, Intrado and Comtech. We marked them as unlocked in Intrado and they were included when submitting them to Comtech as unlocked, but the records were not included somehow in the Intrado database. Anyway, there was some confusion there. Evidently, those records did get to Comtech. There were 64 of the records that Comtech said were not matching, I guess, between comparing Intrado and Comtech databases. 5 of the records were submitted to Intrado as deletes, disconnects between 2013 and 18, but still appeared in the database file they provided. We're resubmitting those. So I understand there's going to be some inconsistencies here. I had Comtech send Sully all the numbers, so we're reconciling. We didn't see any issues yet, but we're going through it anyway. I'm just going to reiterate, Comtech needs to, and work with the telcos. We need probably more direct communication, one-on-one. That's all I'm going to say about that. To work through this. Otherwise, I guess that's kind of where the telcos are. I think they might have taken a little exception to Comtech's email the other day, but that's where we're at right now. So I just think there needs to be some more direct communication. Also, it was mentioned that we are not seeing regular weekly updates from Comtech. So that's what I have for today then.
Thanks for that, Jack. And Bill Burnett is on the line as well, and I'm trusting he took that note back. One thing, and you pointed it out, Jack, and I want to clarify a little bit as well. There are certainly instances where some telcos have just not provisioned anything. But as you indicate, there's also definitely instances where telcos have tried to provision the data, and it's just not loading correctly. So, and I think your one-on-one comment is also well received, because we really do have to sort through, which boat, really take a case by case. Is it a compatibility issue? Is it the telco isn't provisioning at all, or whatever the other issues might be? So I think those points are very well received. Bill, I thought you were trying to jump in. Did you have something to add from Comtech?
Yeah. So in regards to the weekly updates, Jack, I heard you say that there's some telcos that say they're not receiving those. It's if you would encourage those folks and anyone on here that is not receiving weekly updates, I'll confess it's not entirely consistent. It's not like it's every Friday I get it out. Sometimes they'll miss a Friday and get it out on Monday or whatnot. But you should be overall, with some exceptions, getting an update every single week. If you are not, it just simply means we don't have your contact information. With 150 plus telcos in the state, that can happen. Turnover. Maybe we have a contact that's not the right person. And it's a matter of we don't know what we don't know in those situations. So unless we have somebody reach out to us, we won't know that we're not reaching everybody. So please encourage those folks that say that they're not getting the updates to reach out.
Yeah, Bill, I think we've done that numerous times, and I'm not saying there's issues on the telco end, but in this particular case, yeah, you have this contact. I'm seeing those emails. I can't tell you that I see them every week, but for what it's worth.
Blake and Bill, Dave Duncan here. Sorry to kind of jump in. Bill, you may not remember who I am. I'm with the Iowa Communications Alliance. We represent the 120 or 150, however you want to count them, telcos. I agree with what Jack has been saying. We've been hearing similar things from our members that what Jack said, that basically the people that are receiving updates are on the list, but they're how do I say it politely? Our members are reporting to me that they're not getting much useful information on a very regular basis. So I don't have specifics on that to help you do that better, but there is a sense out in the field along those lines. And then what Jack was talking about on when he was reading one of the emails that's in front of me too, just to kind of clarify, what our members were saying was that Comtech was comparing your database to an outdated Intrado database, and then that was what was rejecting some of the data entries. And so, and Jack gave some data on that. But Blake, back to you. I'm very willing to take a look at whatever list you have of telcos that are not provisioning this data at all, and I will step in also and help nudge them if you'd like.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I do appreciate it. If there is, very, very much welcome, and have requested it in the past too, about if I'm not providing helpful information, please let me know what I can provide. I don't think I've received any feedback. The last time I asked, which was about a month ago, but would absolutely welcome it. It's just a kind of a guessing game on my part, I guess, in regards to what's of most value. Probably varies from telco to telco as well, I assume, but happy to, add on any information I can. Again, just encourage if we're not reaching out to the same person, the right person, or not reaching out at all, so that we get that person's information. We have our group that sends it out as our data, data integrity group, and I basically make the update, give it to them. They have a list that they've compiled of contacts anytime, and I've gotten several emails about, hey, please add me to the list. This is a general distro, get rid of them, and I pass all that on to them. And I generally receive back from them that, acknowledgement that they received it and made the change. But it's not going to be perfect, but any feedback about information I can provide that I'm not, absolutely willing and want to be able to do that. So I welcome that. Appreciate your comments.
Jack and Dave, one of the things that we've talked about is another webinar conference call with the telcos, kind of as a reset or not reorganization, but just a touch base that way. We had training on the new ALI database, a number of months ago, kind of before all of it was becoming reality. And now that we're here, would that be useful to your membership and fellow telco? Jack and Dave?
Yes, let's schedule one.
Okay.
At your convenience. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll do that.
All right, Dave, I'll reach out to you then for that, huh?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, Blake, I'll just add this too. There's a mention about the Intrado database and us comparing, and it's been a bit of a struggle to get information there. And until yesterday morning, we really didn't have good eyes into that to see, to be able to do a check of what telcos are loading. But now, as of yesterday morning, we have basically a received from CenturyLink Intrado, not the database, they won't share that with us, but the record count in their database per telco. So now for the first time we're just doing that just now, going through and saying, oh, okay, we see a data discrepancy here, so we'll reach out to this telco. So Blake alluded to that earlier, and just maybe a little more detail on why we're doing that now. And so, as we get more granular in that data and determine the discrepancy list, we're reaching out. Our group is reaching out to telcos to help them through that. Just a little more detail.
All right, is there any other questions on that topic on the wireline migration? I'm about ready to move on, so just want to pause again. All right, moving on to the shared services project. We had been scheduled to turn up the first PSAP on the dual backhaul, dual connectivity between with adding FirstNet, the derecho, as well as the wireline migration pause. has also paused that effort. So the first county is now will be turned up on both circuits the end of September. And again, that just ensures if ICN goes down for whatever reason, maintenance, outage, what have you, though the connectivity between the host and the remote will stay up through another connection. So I know we had talked about turning those up in August. It is now slid till September. So just wanted to give you an update there. Moving to GIS information. Another 9 counties qualified in the month of August, bringing the total so far to 19 counties and $120,000 so far the first 2 months of the fiscal year. And as a reminder, you have till December for this half of the grant. And again, the benchmarks are 98% GIS and 98% alley to road center line. We do have a training request for this month from ILEA. As a reminder, they are not subjected to the local agency cost share. So that is the full amount, $4,000. And the course is cultural diversity ripped from the headlines. Planning to be in person, but with the definite possibility of going virtual if needed. So that'll be on the agenda for later. Just wanted to present it here. And you can see that there's still plenty of money remaining in that fund for those interested. With that, is Cody Brink on from Zetron to give any more update on the shared services?
Yes, sir, Blake, I'm here.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. All right, just a quick update here on the recent updates. Same thing with as Blake was discussing, the wireline portion of the migration, where we've had 5 of the shared services program sites go through and getting into the 3 DPS locations to make that migration next week, pending the schedule that Blake had talked about. Iowa County, PBX and Max CT is going live here at the end of this month. The deployment for CAD for DESCOM and the NCIC testing is all scheduled and on its way, looking great. Jones County's EMD went live here in August, so great to see them all up and running. And then Fayette County and OIMPD EMD deployments are getting kicked off, so everything's looking great. And outside of that, I don't know if I've got anything else for you, Blake.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Cody or anything that I covered as well? That does conclude my brief. All right, Sheriff Rotter, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Blake. Wow, you got a lot of things going on. I honestly don't know how you orchestrate all this stuff, and my hat goes off to you. I don't know that there's probably a state that's in better hands than we are with what you do. So thank you very much. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you. They are large things and not easy to convey bad news or difficult news, but thanks for that feedback, and hopefully we get back on the right track soon.
You bet. Thanks again. Okay, moving on. We do have the ILEA training fund request for $4,000 that Blake already mentioned. I guess, is there anyone online that would like to explain what that is? If someone's perhaps interested in that training and maybe doesn't understand what it is there anyone on that could talk about it? Okay, apparently not. Looks like it might be somewhat self-explanatory, especially considering the situations that law enforcement and PSAPs have found themselves in here in the last few months. But at any rate, I would entertain a motion to approve ILEA's request for $4,000 of training funds.
So moved, Tracy Bearden.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Anderson.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
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 Against, same sign. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on to other reports. Does anyone have any technical advisories? Okay, doesn't sound like we do. I will mention something that's come to my attention just this morning. With all the things that are going on, we're doing a lot of things differently, trying to do a lot of virtual work, obviously, and we're spending money in ways that we haven't spent money before. And of course, the dark side is starting to take advantage of that, and you may unfortunately find some bills arriving on your doorstep that have nothing to do with anything you've done. It's a complete scam. Having received one just this morning, very vague, talks about virtual work that's being done and that we owe so much on an account that doesn't really exist. So I know people are very good with taxpayer money, but right now we really have to be vigilant about this sort of thing. Really make sure that you know what the bill is that you're paying, whether it's related to 911 or anything else, because the dark side is out there and they're working hard to take the money that is so precious to us. So just a word of warning there. Moving on, could we please get an update from Essex? Chris, are you on?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, 911 Council. Want to extend a continued thank you, first and foremost, to everybody that has been working post all the disasters we've had this year. Your efforts don't go unnoticed. Update from the board for this month. We have a lot to talk about, but I'll be as quick as I can with this. Following the derecho last month, Essex was still functional, and any and all checks that needed to be done with respect to microwave alignments for the backhaul and any necessary repairs. We had a couple of dish covers get blown off. Those are all fixed. You may recall from last month that we did have that derecho roll through. Found out after the fact that some of our sites took on 130 to 140 mile per hour winds at their peak. So impressive that they lived through it. I'm happy to report that all of our backup mechanisms continued to work as they were designed. Several of our sites run backup power for several days, and those worked really well. And we even had backup plans for refueling for the generators that worked as designed in addition to that. Currently, we are supporting 2 communities with STR trailer deployments. We don't necessarily have an ETA on when those will conclude, but those trailers will be out there for the time being. Quick update on our TA requests from ICTAP. We have the SOP Communications Plan Review and Development coming up next week, I believe, on September 15th and 16th. Those are morning webinars that will be from 8 in the morning to 11:30. You can still sign up for those. We will send emails out to those that have registered with the course link on Friday. We also have an encryption planning and usage for technical staff that'll be held virtually September 30th from 12:30 to 1600 CDT. This is geared towards technical staff to help them understand the various technical components of encryption, more or less the things that'll kind of make or break your encrypted efforts. So that's open for everybody to sign up. That'll be held again September 30th. We are still offering one-on-one PSAP training as well for the interoperability talk groups and status board. We've been able to do this both in person and virtually as PSAPs have requested. Can just reach out if you want some training on Essex. Even if you've had it previously, we're more than willing to come out and do it again for you, especially if you have new staff. We have an Essex regional training and FirstNet outreach session planned for Region 1 for September 29th. That'll be in the city of Boone at the Erickson Public Library. We'll go over the Essex regional talk groups, the control stations and consulates you may have gotten, and a little bit of FirstNet outreach and also status board. And again, that's in Boone, September 29th at the Erickson Public Library. Essex applications approved last month include Bremer County Sheriff's Office for Level 2 access, Clayton County's update for Level 2 access, and Ida County's update for Level 3 access. Essex applications up for approval today. Blakesburg Fire and Rescue, that's an update to Level 2 if I remember right. O'Brien County EMA for Level 1 and Pottawatomie County for Level 2. You may have noticed on the board's website, if you go there, that we have posted an air-to-ground conventional channel policy for public comment. I think we've got about 30 days left on that public comment period, but that policy focuses on the adoption of some 700 megahertz conventional air-to-ground channels that can be used to communicate with your air ambulatory vehicles if larger networks are not available. This can be used for basically ground personnel to medical vehicle direct communications. It's designed to be a supplement for what we already have in place. And if you have any comments, you're more than welcome to post them to that policy on our website. Quick update on status board. Didn't have any service issues last month, so that continues to be good. And again, if you haven't signed up for status board yet for your agency, please do. It's open for all PSAP personnel, key administrative personnel, and emergency management. That's my report for the month, Mr. Chair. I'll go ahead and take any questions.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. Moving on, is Jim Lundstedt on?
Yes, sir. Sheriff, is the audio acceptable? Can you hear me okay?
Very faint. Can you speak up just a little bit, perhaps?
Yeah, I will certainly try. No specific update today beyond the standard precaution. We're observing a significant uptick in ransomware, primarily delivered through phishing, but urge you to remain vigilant. And a lot of this is taking a COVID-19 related theme. So at this time, that's our update for the brief today. And we'll hopefully have something specific for 911 that we can talk about next month.
Hey, Jim, this is Blake. I just want to jump in as you close your brief and just thank you and make sure to point out to everyone, after the derecho, Jim was instrumental in getting the FCC's disaster reporting tool up and running, which allowed us a really good idea of where cell phone outages were and the reasoning behind those cell phone tower outages. So really appreciate it. Normally that's turned up for hurricanes and kind of a well polished process in the southeast, or sorry, southeast. A little bit different in Iowa. We're not used to activating that reporting tool. And greatly appreciate your efforts, Jim.
Thank you, Blake.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Thanks for taking care of us. Really appreciate it. Okay, do we have any report from the 34A Administrative Code Committee?
No, but what I'm going to do is I was trying to wait to see if the way that we operate changed so we could actually, because one of the things we wanted to do was to go around the state and actually hold different meetings so people could actually physically be present, because I think that physical presence and discussion, there's a lot to be said about it. But right now it doesn't look like, we're going to continue to be operating virtually for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule either Zoom or GoTo meetings and get those going again. So I'm going to start working on that. I don't want to keep putting it off, and I just don't think we're going to make enough progress where we're going to be operating as normal anytime soon. I do have an update for Iowa NENA, so I don't know if you want me to wait for announcements or new business, but I also have an update from Iowa NENA.
Tracy, I think you could just go ahead with that.
Okay, there's a lot here, so I'm going to kind of summarize it, and then I will send an email to Blake to have him distribute. But the president, Brandon Miller-Gus, he said that out of abundance of caution, there's going to be no fall conference. He acknowledges that there are some people who, when the spring conference was canceled, did say that they wanted to use their funds to be used for the fall conference. So if you did that, they are going to provide you with a full refund. So that will be in the works. And there are several free virtual training opportunities that are coming up, the NENA Ignite. So that conference is actually a national NENA conference, and it's going to be free. It's September 22nd through the 24th virtually. And Dare to Be Great, which is October 6th through 9th. So with these opportunities available, we do encourage people to attend as much as possible. Under the Iowa NENA bylaws, it's required to have 3 meetings a year, so they're going to hold 3 virtual meetings to be in accordance with the bylaws. So those are going to be September 22nd at 1000 hours. And then they'll make the official request for NENA officers Tuesday, October 20th at 1000 hours, and that will announce the nominations for NENA and provide information on voting. And then on November 17th at 1000 hours, the election results will be provided. Last but not least, they are looking at holding an actual physical meeting on March 15th, 2021 at Prairie Meadows in Altoona. So again, this is a lot of information, but a lot of good information, some free training opportunities. So I'm going to send an email to Blake and he'll distribute it out to his contact list.
Okay.
And that's my update.
All right. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Moving on, do we have anyone from the Baseline Knowledge for 911 Communications Professionals Committee on?
Sheriff, this is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, good morning, board. I guess I kind of agree with Tracy. You know, we had been putting this discussion off until we kind of got back in the room together so we could have a good talk about it. But I don't know. I guess I'll leave it up to you, Sheriff. If you want, we can just do maybe a PowerPoint and share my screen, and kind of go through it at the next meeting, because yeah, it doesn't look like there's a date set that we're going to actually start congregating once again. So I'll leave that up to you. We can do it that way, and if the board so chooses.
I think that would be a great idea. Let everybody know kind of where we're at, and I'm sure that Blake can help facilitate that with the next meeting, and I'm pretty certain it's going to be virtual. I don't see this changing anytime really soon. So if you're willing to do that, I think that would be great.
I will have that ready to go, and I'll get with Blake on making sure we're ready for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Do we have any legislative issues that need to be discussed? Okay, I'm not aware of any unfinished business or new business, and I'm certain we don't have any travel requests. Is there any business from the floor? Do we have anyone on that needs to talk about something? Okay, hearing none. How about our 911 folks? Anything you want to bring up?
Sheriff, this is Mike Bryant. I just wanted to mention, I kind of fell off the grid for a bit. I did not call in and let anybody know I wasn't going to be on the phone or in attendance, or not in attendance, but participating in the last meeting. My mom had right at that time developed some health issues and passed away a couple days later. So I was a little bit preoccupied with all of those things. So just wanted to mention that's why I wasn't, didn't let anybody know I wouldn't be participating.
Well, Mike, I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope your family's doing well, and it is great to hear from you. Hope everything's good.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from our 911 folks? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Anderson.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
By Bearden.
Thank
Second
you. All
by
those.
Bearden.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Keep up the good work.